Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Please put on your prayer chute and prepare for jump.
It's Mercury retrograde. That means it's time for our Soulmart.me Mercury retrograde sale. Like a 1-hour reading with Christopher Witecki, normally $159, retrogrades back to $95.10. Or try a 15-minute psychic look reading with Zen Shoemaker. She retrogrades down to $45 for a 15-minute reading. Or try the Act 3 Orbits Report. And the Jupiter Gets Emotional retrogrades the same to 1111. At Soulmart.me, mind, body, and soul improvement.
Soul Garden.
Namaste, and welcome to Soul Horoscopes Orbits Edition. From my webcam to yours, I'm Christopher Ray Witecki, your astrologer and soul biographer, here to help you put the pieces of your soul story together. And before we dive into your horoscope, I just want to give some gratitude to all those who have donated to soulgarden.tv in the last week. Thank you so much. And for those people who have purchased readings as well. We are continuing the sale. It has helped our situation, and we are very grateful. Also, this is a special horoscope designed to cover the entire 10-day period of before and after the solar eclipse that's coming up, and I'll be talking about that. So this is a special soul horoscope designed to help you through this quantum intention time. So the sun is in sexy Scorpio. We are working on our intimacy, our boundaries, our transformation, and we're working on committing to infinity. That's how serious Scorpios take it. We're going to deal with our core boundaries, and a solar eclipse is going to give us a quantum shift on November 3rd. Now, the moon signs most affected from the eclipse on are Scorpio in the eclipse, then Sag, Capricorn's very affected, and Aquarius is at the end of the week. The moon signs most affected by this, of course, are going to be the Tauruses and Scorpios, Sag and Geminis, Capricorns and Cancers, and Aquarius and Leos. But the orange ones are the moon signs that might go into depression or the dark side based on the fact that it's the anti-sign right now. Now, looking at orbits, man, I want to point out what the solar eclipse is going to do to our chakras. You may not know this, but Scorpio actually rules two chakras, the back of the throat and the front of the solar plexus there. The orange chakra works with Taurus, and that's what gives Scorpio the ability to rule the number 0 and complete a boundary around the soul. So this particular eclipse is going to be a tug-of-war in some senses because of the Earth is going to be located in Taurus, and the sun and moon, of course, in Scorpio. So this really is the creation and death transit, and a very powerful one. And each of your horoscopes, I'll be talking about how you can have some quantum creation in this solar eclipse. Now, looking at the planets, the most compelling thing to me is this Yod, which is a big part of the build-up to the solar eclipse. It's basically God giving us the finger, sacred geometry here, pointing to Uranus to innovate our egos. So in your horoscopes, I'll be talking about how you want to channel these other two parts of yourself, the new boundaries and your aggression, into the evolution of your ego and the evolution of how you act or react in society. Now, this square is still also happening, and it's important for you to know that because the Yod is being affected by the square, which means part of the innovation deals with you have to innovate or revolutionize the rules you subscribe to. And then finally, this black Lilith Grand Trine really reaches its most apex important point. We've been having this trine for weeks. This is our emotional healing underneath the seams of what we're seeing on top of our realities. And ultimately, because of the solar eclipse hitting one corner of the trine, you're going to see this issue carry out in the rest of your life. And I'll be talking about that in the horoscopes as well. Another thing I want to point out, which is really groovy, is actually this. Venus is entering and now conjuncting the galactic center this week. This is where the sun had conjuncted for the Mayan shift, etc. So this means we're going to start sensing some real high cosmic vibrations coming down from the heavens. Another interesting thing here, this is the party, Mercury, Saturn, and the sun in Scorpio. But actually, this whole eclipse is happening in the constellation of Ophiuchus. You've probably heard before that there's a 13th constellation. Well, kind of not so much true. The truth is, this is Ophiuchus here, and this is the Scorpio constellation. But it's not that there's a 13th constellation. It's that they used in the sky one little marker to represent the whole box of Scorpio. And so some astronomers who don't understand astrology assume that because there's extra space there, that we can just fit another constellation there in our zodiac. But the truth is that Scorpio rules the whole quadrant. It's just that Scorpio, in a very hiding way, is hiding in the corner. And that's part of actually the mythology of Scorpio, is that the constellation is, of course, hiding in the Scorpio den, waiting for some victim to fall in there, right? Maybe Ophiuchus. All right, well, that's all I have for now. Let's take the ascension elevator up and see what's going on with you.
Folks, this is your captain speaking. We realize you have a choice in the astrologers you choose to fly with, and we'd just like to thank you for flying with Christopher Witecki.
Namaste, Your Majesty, and welcome to 33,000 feet. And also the Leo risings, which also applies to Your Majesty, because I have a Leo rising, so. The changes for the Leos are going to be profound. I was scattering there to find in this Mercury retrograde where my deep thought was for the Leos. And it has to do with you're swapping out your emotional foundation. You've been jackhammering around your emotional foundation for a full year now since Saturn went into Scorpio. And basically it's time to lift out the foundation and pour a new one. We're literally talking about the emotional foundation from childhood. And even if you're over 60, this would still be a new foundation. This foundation was last poured in the early 80s, probably 82 to 84. And by foundation, we really mean how you respond to your own emotions. With Leos and Leo risings, Scorpio is your basement. It is the foundation of who you are. And so growing up, any Scorpios in your life had a profound effect on the way you respond to yourself emotionally. And now you are carrying out how you respond emotionally to yourself in that same way. So everything in your life comes from the soil that you're emotionally planted in. And so in the next week, with this solar eclipse, the universe is going to give you the energy to scoop out the childhood and replant your soul garden in a sunnier place. So you're transplanting your soul garden, and it's happening now. So this affects your home, your actual family, foundation, if you have children, your own children. In some cases, it might affect your siblings as well. It's a pretty profound change. And really what it comes down to is you in your own heart making a decision to nurture yourself emotionally differently. You making a decision to be a mama to yourself, whether you're a man or a woman, and to nurture the inner infant differently. And this is really the only reason, according to the astrology, that you would not be succeeding at this time, particularly with career and desires of where you want your career to take off. So this week, we are moving into from emotion to reflection. We're moving from looking at your feelings and looking at your childhood patterns to moving to the reflection. In other words, what moods do you aim for? What moods do you live in? And looking at your history to determine what moods are best for you, right? So I like to be in a happy mood. I like to be in a Disneyland kind of mood. I like my general mood to be like vacation. And when I first did this transit, that's what I said to myself. I want to feel like it's vacation every day of my life. And so going to work and doing everything else, I have been still working to make it that way, right? So this week in the state of Scorpio, the sun will go from step 8 to step 16 in this coverage, which means you'll go from deciding to leave your old soul garden plantation and replanting it in a new plantation. Saturn at 13 means that there will be a new transplant. Mercury is retrograding, so the entire time that you are transplanting your emotional self, you are thinking about what a good garden is in the first place. You're reconsidering emotions in the big Socratic kind of method, like the big question mark. So there's a philosophical question of what is necessary anyways, as you are also choosing what you want personally. In the state of Cancer, this is your story of inner faith. Jupiter has pushed you to the limits. And so this is the last brink for a little while of being tested on personal interfaith. So you'll be super excited about that. However, Black Lilith will continue to clear out your karma even though Jupiter is giving you a break. So you're going to keep clearing karma, and you're going to clear high-end karma even though Jupiter is not giving you the resources to clear the high-end karma. In fact, Black Lilith will cross Jupiter on 11/27, November 27th, and it's very important that Leos be on the right path at the end of this month, because when those two cross, you could have an old karmic issue inflame, having it conjunct Jupiter, and that would be a bad thing, incidentally. So be very careful, Your Majesty. This is not a time for screwing around. All right, so looking at the week leading up to the solar eclipse, the important time is Halloween to the next day, because on that day a decision has to be made, and from that day you want to have made a decision. I know these horoscopes go live on Saturday, so just retro looking, you want to have made a decision about what goes and what soul garden goes. Then on Friday, you want to start to transplant your soul garden and move forward in the transplant process. That involves cutting away all the roots from your past. That involves forgiving and forgetting your family and your childhood and everything that you've had. That involves loving and trusting on Saturday that the transplant will go just fine, and not having any regrets or holding back to where you come from. Now the moon is in Libra on these 3 days, so you're very pensive and your mind games are triggered. You're also pulled into a tug-of-war between what you believe and what you actually think. And the truth is, a lot of your beliefs are tied to the old soul garden foundation, and so a lot of your beliefs are false or self-limiting beliefs due to the fact that you're still subscribed to the plantation that you were born from. So now it's time to really be liquid in what you believe and love and trust on Saturday that it's going to go okay. Moving to the actual eclipse, first of all, let's look at the slow-moving planets. When it comes to your daily lifestyle, Pluto, this area you want to move forward. So your life is changing, Your Majesty, whether you like it or not. Pluto is forcing you into a new daily life, a new way of living in the moment, a new way of living in your body. And so that is in concert with this transplant of your emotional soul garden. Neptune is saying you must be very compassionate to yourself about what you look like in the public. You must be very compassionate to yourself when it comes to the delicacies of how you handle yourself with boundaries. And when it comes to the whole transition, you must be exercise self-mercy. In other words, don't make it harder on yourself in your own power. Don't use your power against yourself to make it harder, especially in that mind of yours. Uranus in Aries says this is the area where you don't necessarily have the answer, where you are innovating your ego about what you think you know. If you knew, you wouldn't be so happy. Our ego and our belief structure get erased and rewritten all the time. And so ultimately, you must remain flexible in what your beliefs are. Be careful of shooting all over yourself. Saturn is where this all is going down, and it begins at step 13 at the beginning of the week, which is very nuclear, with Mercury at retrograde 10 on the eclipse. So what this means is that you are ready to rethink your foundation 10 and also break it at the top at 13. And that is what 13 does, is it is a break. But very quickly on Tuesday it goes to 14, Saturn. So it is a quick transplant, a quick surgery, a quick shift. We're talking about 48 hours of radical emotional change. Now Jupiter itself, which is the part pushing for higher spiritual faith, is peaking at 20 degrees, the master shui. And this peak is pushing your own inner faith to its limits as far as what you know. But this is like a yoga pose. You just have to hold and breathe deep in your faith as much as you know, and that's it. All right? Now the actual light cast day itself is at 11 degrees, which means the root intention of the day is integrity. So it's a blast of integrity energy on Sunday. Therefore, people with integrity multiply in integrity. Those people out of integrity multiply out of integrity. It's a multiplier regardless. So on Sunday, I'll be putting out a little video on how to, in the Lightcast Temple on Soul Garden, it'll be the video, how to step into this, and I'll do a manifestation with you. But you want to love and trust and basically ask the universe for a soul garden of total integrity that matches the integrity of your soul. And this is the energetic basket that allows you to manifest in emotionally. This is your home, your family, your foundation, your property, your hometown. All right. So that's Sunday. On Monday, oops, that's a little bit ahead there. But on Monday, we're going to basically hold space and open up to how the universe might bring these little things to us. All right. So you want to open up to how the universe is going to show it to you, how the universe is going to bring it to you, and keep your emotions grounded in what you're doing. On Tuesday, things will go nuclear, and that's what I was trying to get my little button to, is to find the Tuesday button. Nuclear meaning if you stay open on Monday, you'll see opportunities. So for those of you who are literally trying to manifest a house or manifest a foundation right now, you're going to find that Tuesday is probably the day when opportunity actually opens. So you might not even find the place until Tuesday, but you have to hold that space on the solar eclipse for the full 48 hours to be able to benefit from that. All right. Then on Wednesday, doors open, light bulbs go off. Then on Thursday, this is where Jupiter goes retrograde, and you're officially off the hook when it comes to spiritual growth. And now you can kind of fill in. Plus the butterflies mean that probably some good news or answers coming as well on Thursday. Then on Friday we go into a spiritual head trip, which might be just from the simple fact that we are trying to figure out, are we on the right path? If you have options come in over the light bulb period or whatever, maybe Friday you're meditating on what options to choose. And then finally on Saturday, this is where you will be making decisions from the wave or the result of the solar eclipse. So Saturday, it's time to decide what you want to do. So you can see in just 1 week's time, the universe will change opportunity in life. For Leos and Leo risings, it is frankly your emotional foundation. And with the right foundation, a Leo can do anything. If you come from the right royal family, you can do anything. Chances are, if you're a Leo in this life, you came from the wrong royal family, which means you must now manifest your own royal family. All right, so we're going to parachute down now. Grab your parachute and make your prayers on the way down and your wish list for what you want from soulmart.me. And I will see you at the bottom with a new Serious Joy toy just for the eclipse after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Please put on your parachute and prepare for jump.
It's Mercury retrograde. That means it's time for our soulmart.me Mercury retrograde sale. Like a 1-hour reading with Christopher Witecki, normally $159, retrogrades back to $95.10. Or try a 15-minute psychic look reading with Zen Shoemaker. She retrogrades down to $45 for a 15-minute reading. Or try the Act 3 Orbits Report. And the Jupiter Gets Emotional retrogrades the same to 1111. At soulmart.me, mind, body, and soul improvement.
Namaste, Your Majesty, and welcome back to Witecki Theater for your Serious Joy toy. And this is a creative toy for you to play with in your mouth, so to speak, in your head, through the week so that you can be on your natural path in a fun way. That's what I like to do. So the Serious Joy toy is a toy that makes life less serious. So your Serious Joy toy, first of all, is for, in your imagination this whole week, to move out of your childhood home. And what I mean is every time you encounter where you are blocked by your own childhood, well, in my childhood I couldn't make noise, or in my childhood I couldn't be this, or in my childhood I couldn't be that, in those moments or in those blocks, in your mind, your imagination, move out of the house, okay? So you move out of that childhood house. You tell your parents in that time, I'm leaving, I'm getting out of here, I'm not gonna live here anymore. And you energetically always move out of any confinement or any confined house energetically. So whenever you find that you're confined, it's not that you're supposed to do without, it's that you're supposed to move out, okay? It's not that you're supposed to do without, it's that you're supposed to move out. That's how it's supposed to be. And then part 2, this is the part that you imply once the solar eclipse hits. For the solar eclipse, your soul assignment and Serious Joy toy is to build the nest that will lay the golden egg. So in your imagination, in your vision boards, in your light casting, you create the perfect home that will set you up for total success. And the home is the place to create it, but also it would be the home at work, your perfect desk, the nest there. Every nest where you relax and ruffle your feathers, Your Majesty, make it perfect. One that could lay a golden egg. And if you can't afford to do it, put stuff on wish lists, put stuff down on paper, tell the universe through picture, this is what you intend to do. All right? Okay, that's your Serious Joy Toy for the week. I love you. Have a good 7 days, and namaste.
SoulGarden.tv.
Live, love, be was my phrase, man. I told him when I was in prison.
In prison?
Well, the fucking establishment, man. The state of California, it's all Nixon run, man. I was in for 25 years.
For medicinal marijuana?
It wasn't medicinal back then, man. They considered it a crime. Welcome to the establishment, kids. For my sacrifice, you can now smoke it up anytime you want. I did the time. You can do the crime.
Thank